Second, yeah, we are on YouTube. So, good evening, YouTube. We are here for another English immersion. The topic of today's previous experience. So, we are gonna talk a little bit about the past. But before that, I would like to explain a little bit about the platform, and we can start. Okay. So, Talking Talk is a conversation platform for beginner, intermediate, or advanced speakers, and the conversations like that is are for all levels, so it's not mandatory specifically have the your level, or it doesn't matter if you are a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. We are here for learn English and practice the conversation mainly. And the main point here is that this is not a regular class. I'm not an English teacher or a language teacher at all. So we are here for practice in a real environment, and you will develop your fluency and your confidence as an English speaker. Okay, that's the main point. Besides English, we have a lot of languages here like Spanish, German, French, Italian, Mandarin, I guess, and I think that's it. And you can see all of these languages on the Talk and Talk website. Okay, so that's the mainly idea of the about the platform. So let's start with the question number one. Have you ever traveled to a country where you didn't speak the language, and how did you manage? I don't know, it's specifically about a country or in a specific spot, maybe here on the Talk and Talk that you participate and you didn't speak the language, for example, or this idea. You know. So I'll start with you, Wanda. What do you think?
Yes, I used to travel around the world. I know many countries. And one time I was in Thailand riding a motorcycle. And I was in a really countryside of Thailand, a farm country. And then the tire get flat. And oh my gosh. And people in this part of Thailand don't speak nothing, only Thailandese. Then I struggle with the gestures, face, smiles, and contactiles. And I could bargain with the man, the man that fix the tire. I can talk with gestures and smiles and like that. He in Thailandese and my in English, poor English.
I was thinking that in Thailand they were speaking English, but I think it's just on the capital, for example, right?
Yes,
In
yes,
the
and
small country it's
big
more
city.
difficult.
But in farm parts of Thailand, no, they speak only Thailandese.
Yeah. And it's so different, right? I really don't know. I don't know nothing about the Italian language, but I think it's pretty different compared to Portuguese,
Yes,
for example, or
totally,
English.
totally. We could understand one word. It's possible.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think in this case, we can use body language and gestures. I
Yes,
don't know if that's correct.
gestures and smile
And
and faces. It's like that.
yeah, yeah,
And everything get okay.
yeah. It works. So yes, that's the main point. And how about you, Milene? What do you think about that?
For me, in when I went to London, it was my first trip abroad, and I couldn't speak because this I started studying English. It was maybe 3 years ago, and for me, it was a good experience, obviously. But for me, I couldn't speak, so I think I miss some things, some experience. I think if you can speak English is better. I did some rides and the guide speaking English, so I could understand. Um, but it was good because it was a motivation for me start studying English. I didn't have problems there because I was with my boyfriend and he speaks English, so I didn't have problems. But for me, it was I felt a little bit upset because I couldn't speak. I could ask with for anyone. Um, I don't know how I don't think you need to speak every language that that the country you travel, but I think with English is maybe could be enough in most of the countries. Um, so I don't know. I've never been in country with different language from English, so I don't know how could be maybe in Thailand or in French or in a country that they don't speak English. But for me, speaking English, it's enough. I don't need learn another language. I think you can try to communicate with body language, but I think English is essential for travel, and because this, I try to speak in English.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think in most case English is enough. It's well, maybe in Spanish countries, it would be nice to speak in Spanish, but with Portuguese, I think you can handle these, you know. So I think the main points about English. And I feel you because maybe you want to have some troubles with don't speak English, for example, in a English country. But I don't know, you feel upset to not express the language and to talk with someone in the street, for example, or to ask for something in a restaurant. I don't know. So it's nice to have the experience to speak the language in another country. It's pretty nice to do that. So I really understand you in that case. And for me, I think I haven't had that experience exactly with don't speak the language and stay on the country. But when I have traveled for Argentina for uh, entrepreneurship, I guess, intercambio. I have studied Spanish before, but they speak so fast in there. So it was pretty difficult to study with Argentinian people and to understand their jokes and understand all the points about the language. So it was difficult because it's different. It's not the same that speak Spanish here on Talk and Talk, for example, or with a lot of people. They speak slow, they speak clearly, and you understand. But in Argentina, it was pretty crazy because they speak so fast, and they was my colleagues, for example, on the school, the other students, they were like doing a lot of jokes about everything, and I wasn't understand. So I was asking to my friend near for me to maybe like it seemed like translate the Spanish joke for me because I wasn't understand. So yeah, it was pretty difficult at the I know it at the first month I guess, but I don't know. I think it's still different from Vanda, for example, in Thailand. That's a pretty different and so different language. So yeah, it's different. But it was it was difficult. It was difficult at first.
Yes.
But
No,
I
yeah, go ahead.
agree with you. People native language is fast.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
eh, we can't understand nothing. For example, I have a son. He lives in New York. When he talk with his girlfriend or his friend, I
Yeah.
can't understand nothing in English.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here I used to talk with you with a little problem, but nothing so big. But with my son, it's impossible. Understand one word is like a metralhadora.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think it's totally different talk with another person and talk with a native person.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Recently, I went to New York too, and Canada. I could speak, I could ask something to it, but when they answer or ask me, it was terrible. In
Yeah.
my second day there, I took the wrong bus and I
Oh my
asked to
gosh.
the drive if I was in the wrong bus, and he answered me, but he told me how I when or no when no sorry how I could take the right bus, and I could understand anything
Yes, it's
because yes,
impossible.
they speak very fast, and it was the problem. Before I went, I thought the problem it was speak. I was so nervous because
Yeah.
I am not good speaker. But there, my problem it was the listening,
They
no
listen, of
speaking.
course.
Yeah.
I totally. Yeah,
Yes.
also in Portugal, we can't
Yeah.
understand nothing. They speak Portuguese, but we don't understand. When a Portuguese person talk with another Portuguese people, we don't understand nothing, nothing. It's impossible. I think the most problem is listen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. And I think we are not used to listen their accent, and they speaking so fastly like that. So it's difficult for me when I'm watching a video, for example, or I would say in Spanish, I'm sorry, a movie, for example. It's difficult to me to understand all the things that they are speaking because it's different for me. I am not used to listen the accent and the abbreviation that they use. For example, in English, it's pretty crazy for me. So yeah, it's difficult. It will be difficult if you are on a English country, for example, in this case, and definitely for me, listening is the most difficult point about English. It's definitely the most difficult point.
Yes,
But
about Portuguese from Brazil too. If you stay in the countryside of Minas Gerais, it's
yeah,
really difficult to understand too because they put all the words together and mix
yeah,
all the words and put one word, only one word, big word, and it's hard to understand.
yeah. Here in Brazil, we have a lot of regions and a lot of accents, so they are so different. And compare this to a second language that we have, for example, like English or Spanish, I don't know. It will be difficult. Yeah, that's normal, I guess. So that's pretty okay. Okay, so let's go to the question number two. Have you tried any new hobbies recently? And if so, what was it like? I start with you, Len. What do you think?
I don't think it's a now it's a hobby, but it's not true recently. I started swimming in the end of the last year, and now it's a hobby because I love swimming. I swimming twice on week, I have a swimming class, and the place that I take my class, and they have the roof, it's automatic, they can open and close. So most of the time the roof is open, so I can swimming in back swimming, and I can see the sky. I know I can swim in the uh, in a sea maybe, but I'm afraid. So in the swimming in the pool for me is safe. And now for me it's like a hobby. I love swimming. I'm not good, but I am trying. And and it's I don't know if this is a hobby, but for me, yes. Now, yes.
But why didn't you think it wasn't a hobby before, and now do you think it's a hobby? What do you think is the difference, like,
Uh,
to activity and a hobby?
because I start swimming for health.
Mhm.
So I normally I am obligated to go to do some exercise, but now it's not obligation. I wait for my moment that I can swimming. So because this, I think now it's a hobby.
Yeah, I understand. It's interesting because it's a healthy activity, and you nowadays you like that, so it's pretty
Yes.
great. It's pretty great.
Yes. For me is good because most of the time I hear you have to do something that you like, but I don't like anything. I like to stay in my sofa reading, eating,
Yeah.
not moving. But now I like, so I am very happy because I know that's something that I like to do for my health and for my mental health too, maybe.
Yeah, great, amazing, amazing. And how about you, Wanda? What do you think?
And not now. I'm a scuba diver, and it's my hobby. I like so much stay in the deep water, and my travel around the world is for that. Is for sea life marine and have a conversation with sharks, with octopus, and is that I love so much stay in the deep water. Is a kind of meditation for me, and is that.
Great. It's funny because I'm really afraid to swim in general or to go deep on the ocean. I don't know why, but yeah, it's amazing. I think it's pretty interesting, but for me it doesn't work because I'm pretty afraid to do that. I don't know why, but yeah, it's an interesting activity, I guess. So let's go to question number three.
No,
Uh,
you and your hobby. What is your hobby?
yeah, I forgot, sorry. Actually, I'm starting to run. I like a lot to run outside, for example. I hate to go to the gym. I don't know about you, but I hate to do exercise in a closed space, you know. So I like to do outside activities, and nowadays I'm focused on trying to run maybe 3 times a week, for example. And it's pretty interesting because actually I didn't start with as an obligation for example like millennium, but I know that's important for my health, and it's difficult to do that yet, but I really enjoy when I do. You know, to start to do that is difficult. It was difficult and it still is difficult, but when I do that, it's pretty interesting. I love to do that when I do that. So it's actually a pretty important activity. It's good for my health. And it's nice to run outside, to see people and to uh I don't know, just to exercise your body, it's pretty important. So I think that's my hobby nowadays, I guess. But I would like to do more things, but I don't I don't have time. Maybe start to reading more, to learn a lot of language, Italian, for example. But I don't have time, so it's difficult nowadays. So maybe just run. It's my hobby now. But yeah, so let's go to the question number three. Has anyone ever given you an advice that changed your perspective on something? Or I don't know, you just learned something or you heard something that changed your way of thinking, maybe? What do you think, Juan?
Oh, all the time, my mind is open to receive opinions, advice, and all the time, I hear people to give me advices like uh, get more grateful and things like that, and I'm open to listen, and my perspective changed because I let my mind open it. Like here in Talk, there is many meetings that I think like a therapy, and people give some advices, not straight for me, but they put their thoughts and on the screen, and I take these thoughts for me, and it's so good. Yes, I'm a open person to listen.
Yeah, that's great because here on Talk and Talk, we talk about everything, you know. So we
Yes,
have so many, so different topics, and we discuss
yeah.
about everything. So yeah, it's interesting because in some topics, I don't speak about that even in Portuguese, for example, but I talk about that in English and Spanish. So it's pretty interesting this point, and I think we can think in a different way, in with different opinions and with in a conversation with people that have different backgrounds, you know. So it's pretty interesting this point, I guess. I I think it's nice. It's a nice point. And how about you, Milene? What do you think?
Yes, I heard advice about advice because sometimes we receive a lot of advice and or some things related. And for me, sometimes I feel a little bit anxious because I receive a lot of advice and sometimes I couldn't follow. So it's like for me could be uh, bad for me. So some person give me the advice about you should know about the life of the person who gives you advice. Because if you like of the kind of the life of the person, you you can try to follow the advice, but if the person has a kind of life that you don't like, maybe you can eliminate this advice. And for me it was good because now I try to consider the advice from the person that I know and I like of the kind of life the person lives. So for me, it was a good advice.
Yeah, it's a really good point because we listen a lot of advice all the days, and maybe the person that are giving this advice, they have maybe a different I don't know, maybe a different background, different perspective of life and different reality. So maybe it doesn't fit on our reality, you know. So yeah, maybe we need to filter this kind of advice and understand what is the reality of the person that are giving this advice. So yeah, it's a really good one. I hadn't heard about that, and it's pretty interesting. It's pretty
Yes,
interesting.
sometimes for me before I'm felt guilt because if
Yeah.
I receive advice from old people and from family and I didn't like the advice, I feel a little bit guilt because it's a old person. I should follow the advice, but I can't. I don't like. But now I am it's okay because I don't like of this kind of the person lives. So for me, it's different.
I
Yeah.
think you don't need to follow the advice for old people. I think
Mhm.
when your grandma, for example, uh, gives you an advice, uh, listen with attention and give her a contact eyes and a kindness time, and then follow what you want to live. Live what you want to live. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think my
Yeah.
advice is that.
Yeah, that's a really good point because uh we can't follow all the advice and do all the things that people say to us, you know. So it's pretty common to people just to give an advice and just to speak about what you need to do or what you have to do. But I agree with Wanda. I think we have to filter the advice. Yeah, it's important to listen what the people are speaking, but you need to understand if it makes sense, does make sense with your reality, you know. So I
Yeah,
think it's that's the main point.
yeah,
We can follow all the points.
exactly. I have two sons, and many times I need advice, and I talk with my grandson, and they put a question in a black side. I talked with a young son, and he put the same situation in white side. And then, what about the advice? I follow one or another one? Then I listen one, I listen another one, and I put in my mind, and I do what I want to do. But it's interesting to view another point of view. It's interesting. Uh, if you don't follow, it's okay. But it's interesting. The point of view from my son is one, from another son is another one, the opposite. And yes, it's interesting to talk with another person.
Yeah. It's not to have the open mind to listen all a lot of people and to listen different point of view. For example, here on Talk and Talk, we discuss a lot about different backgrounds and different topics and different personal opinions, for example. And yeah, it's important to respect the opinion also and to have the open mind to listen. But yeah, it's just to listen and to understand the point. You don't need to follow and to agree 100% in that point, you know. So yeah, it's just to have the open mind and to have a conversation. Um, in my case, I have heard about something specifically related to communication, and it was pretty important for me because it was like something that I have difficult to do. And it's like don't miss the opportunity to talk, for example, to communicate. And this advice it is important for me because I'm a shy person and I have difficult to have communication and to express my opinions and to, I don't know, to do a public speech, for example, and to do a presentation. And but it's part of the process to have this kind of communication and talk. I think communication is a practice, so you will get better just practice and talking. So because of that, I try to do that a lot here at Talk and Talk, for example, as a host, and to explain something on the for the community, for example, here at Talk and Talk. And I think that's so important because people to follow the point to learn a language that's the same idea. That's the same idea about communication and language. You need to have the confidence and you need to practice to develop your skills. You want to learn a language, for example, just reading books or study the language and doing that, you need to practice. It's difficult, but you need to do that. So I think this advice of don't miss the opportunity to talk and try to do that a lot. It's pretty important, and for me it's pretty uh, interesting this to have this idea. So for me, I think that's it. And let's I have yeah we have time for more questions. So let's go to the question number 4. Have you ever faced a situation where you needed to learn something new quickly, and how did you handle it? What do you think, Helene? I'll start with you.
I think this situation is common for me because as a teacher, maybe frequently I have some situation that it's new for me, like when I find some student with some problem, some disease, and I don't know how can I deal with this situation. Because when you work with people, we have deal with different ways. And for me, the best way to solve is ask for someone who has experienced this situation. In my case, I try to ask for another teacher, and as I work with a lot of teachers, so for me it's good because I can learn with the older teachers and they can sharing with me different situation, but it's most of the time when I find some situation different, it's like a challenge, but because working with people, I think I never be prepared for every situation. So I think for me it's common deal with different situation.
Yeah, I think to work with people, with a lot of people in a general way, it's an amazing point of learning. So I think about, I don't know, help desk, for example, of this idea to talk with people all the days. I think it's a really good point to learn about everything, I guess. This kind of learning. Also, I think it's pretty difficult to deal with a lot of people, to understand a lot of people, to deal with different opinions also. So yeah, it's an amazing point to learn about everything. And how about you, Wanda? What do you think?
Yeah, I think life is for learning all the time. Many situations show up in front of us many times, all days. And yes, but if I need to pick up one thing, I pick up when I came to into a mom. it's so different when you take your son in your arm and you see, and oh my gosh, now I am a mother, and this person needs me all the time, forever. And I never give up with this kind of love. And is forever is a really changement in your life. You need to learn everything when you become a mom. It's really difficult, really different, and is really grateful. Yeah. A punch of love that you can think about. Only experienced you can see.
Yeah. Actually, I don't have children, but I guess it was yeah, such a amazing experience. But I think it's a really point of learning about learning in general, because I don't know, it's a new thing and for you, I guess, and it's so difficult to handle a life that depends on you, as you said. So yeah, I don't know exactly how it is, but I think it's pretty it's amazing and it's difficult at the same time, so
Yeah,
I guess I understand you in some points.
yeah,
It's
it's a
very
huge
interesting.
experience. Beautiful.
Yeah, really interesting. I guess in my case, I would say that I do that a lot of times because in IT we need to deal with uh a lot of things and a lot of topics and a lot of knowledge that you don't have, so I need to search about something in software development, for example. And I think it's pretty difficult to deal with this kind of learning because I need to learn all the days, so I need to search for some knowledge, for some information. So maybe I need to learn something new all the days or consistently. So for me, it's like that. Maybe about my profession, it's related to that. So yeah, I think that's the idea for me. But actually, let me just close the breakout room because it's it's the time. Yeah, but I think we can go to another question and we can end the conversation. So uh we are on the question number 4, right? Before.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's go to question number 5. It's related, right? Have you ever learned a skill? Actually, I think it's kind of the same, right? So let me
Yeah,
just
yeah.
jump to the question number 6. What new technology have you started using recently, and has it made your life easier? What do you think, Vana?
Yeah, for me is Gemini. Gemini is the AI from Google. And I like so much because I can talk to Gemini. I choose a topic and I talk to him, but he has a British accent. Then, but it's really interesting. I love to talk with Gemini.
Very well, very well. It's a amazing tool. I use ChatGPT also to learn English, for example, and it's pretty interesting to use that. It's strange, but it's pretty interesting.
Yes, it's
Uh,
really good to talk to him.
yeah, it's pretty great. And how about you, Milan?
Mm, I start to use ChatGPT today, but version premium. So I need to learn about the things that I can do because I know I have a lot of possibilities there. So I am exciting to use ChatGPT Premium. But now my goal is use for create texts for my students.
Yeah, I don't know exactly the difference between the free one and the premium one, but even the free one, it's amazing. It's an amazing tool. I use a lot on my days, and yeah, it's pretty interesting. Maybe I guess that the premium version it's pretty great. So, welcome to the main room, guys. Let me know what did you think about the conversation. How was that for you? Let me know, Elton. What did you think?
Was good. I enjoyed a lot. The guys that was with me, they were IT guys as well, so we could exchange some ideas, some experience. It was great.
Amazing, very great. And how about you, Mari? What did you think?
No, for me, so very interesting, and this different subjects in the questions is very interesting too, and changing my experience for the class. This person in the class is so very interesting, and I have opportunity to see and listen the different point of view about these questions. It's so very interesting too.
Very great, very great. And how about you, Bril? What do you think?
Yeah, it was a great conversation and the different subjects, it was amazing. And I could learn different point of views from the persons that are in the chatting. It was amazing to have this conversation. We talked about IT and about meetups and also about new technology as well.
Amazing, very great. And how about you, Paula? What did you think? Let me know.
No, so good. I love to know different kind of people in my year in TE area. Uh, because mm, usually it's a kind of person to IT. But when I talk, we can see a person really the person. I love this kind of discovery.
Very great. So, guys, I have sent you here on the chat the link of the survey. You can say what did you think about the immersion, suggest another topics that you want to discuss about. And yeah, that's the idea. I hope you enjoy the conversation, and you'll see you on the next time. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye, guys. It was a pleasure.